Hello and welcome to another Boomer video. Uh, I thank Big Linux and all of the Linux channel creators for many enjoyable views. And to all the great doctors and scientists that have given us YouTube videos to see and help us understand things that we wouldn't be able to understand without that. IMC philosophy is about the love flow, the least trauma possible kind of flow. And I've talked about that in ad infinitum, how it relates to forms of empathy, objective, creative, and passionate, from which we get our virtues, and with which we might have fewer wars. But there's a lot of stress that goes on short of the war. And poverty is one of them. Today we're going to talk about a number of things: poverty, immigration, capitalism, socialism, and communication. Well, you know my view on communication. Try to be compassionate and creative and objective in your communications, and while being sensitive to the other person and their situation as much as possible. And when you can't, well, walk on by. Anyway, poverty is one thing that capitalism has actually decreased around the world. There's more opportunities, more jobs to be had, and a higher standard of living, more so than ever before. However, there are great gaps. It creates abysmal poverty and extremes of wealth. And that is problematic. It needs to be helped. Socialist programs help to do that. Poverty is a miserable situation, and I know it intimately. And now. Just a while ago, I'll give an example of how those with more money tend to feed off of the poor and the middle class. The super wealthy especially, who may do nothing to her. And when they are doing something, they're doing it on the backs of taking the value of people's labor and taking that. Are they reinvesting it? Sometimes not. When that doesn't work, then they you're not reinvesting it, then there gets to be a real problem. And economies don't do well. Economies need to, capitalist economy needs to expand from the middle out, because the middle will spend the money. They keep it flowing. The poor have nothing to spend and a miserable life. So, yeah, of course, people love to blame the poor. Saying things like, well, they spend too much on things that they really don't need. Well, let's take a look at that. Sometimes, because of capitalism, there's things like televisions, which have become affordable, even for the poor. So is that a luxury or not? All right. What is everyday okay for the middle class and the rich is a luxury for the poor. Is that the way that works? Yeah. Kind of hypocritical, isn't it? And what are these luxuries? Food? Yeah, that a luxury? Healthy food. A lot of times the poor are in areas where there's not a decent grocery store, so they go to one class of what I would call in capitalism the bottom feeders, who themselves are being fed upon. A lot of times, your fast food stores, the convenience stores. Yeah, it's convenient. They don't sell good food. This is not usually bread and milk, things like that. And if they do, it's very little. And at a higher price. And they wouldn't get by unless they were selling alcohol and cigarettes. Yeah, those are big sellers. Well, why does it sell? Because the poor are in pain. They're suffering. And they have boring, tedious lives. Nicotine helps with boring, tedious feelings, It helps you to stand them. And some cigarettes, right? Tobacco products. Then you've got the alcohol, obviously. Bit of a painkiller there. And then so these folks would do, and then another bottom feeding kind of approach done by government sometimes. Tickets. Those are available in your convenience stores. Your convenience stores. Meaning more convenient than the grocery store that actually sells healthy food. Yeah. Yeah. Transportation. Yeah. This is another thing that, where ends up harming the poor is the kind of transportation we've invested in. Car companies have done things such as buying out bus services and things like that, and making sure they don't run so well, so they can sell more cars. Yeah, it's very convenient for the suburbs and the middle class, but it's a big expense for the poor. But what have you got? One of your choices as a poor person, it's like, well, you got to rely on the bottom feeders. You're not going to buy a new car. You're not going to do that. You can't afford it. And even if you could, you wouldn't have the job or the money in the bank to assure them. Yeah, you don't have transportation all the time. Yeah. And the bus systems, which could be affordable, well, they're just not there. Or they run so badly. And heck, the rich don't want to get on a bus. They want to fire up their own car, get there in their own time. So that's a matter of the government acting like a bottom feeder, feeding off the poor, feeding off the rich. Now, that's a laugh. And it's kind of like a food chain. Pigs don't feel off, and chickens, and they're not feeding off us so much. Maybe when we die, and we put the ashes in the ground, we rot away the way Neil deGrasse Tyson thinks we should. Uh, but in general, no. Yeah. So, yeah, the poor get to have all the joys of feeding of being below the bottom feeders. Yeah, relying on the bottom feeders. They're the bottom feeders plus. Plus what? Misery. Um, so, yeah, so there's a lot of problems with capitalism. Socialism can jump in and make things a lot better. Like in Europe, places in Europe, there's free education, there's free, and it's always the rich whining away. Oh, we can't afford this. Share a little bit. Oh, sharing doesn't work. Just look at communism. It failed. Communism was a dream that people would be better people, that they would care enough about others, that they wouldn't be greedy. And that's well, that's that. We Yeah, and then there's racism. You know, racism is a very convenient way in which those at the top can divide people, and the majority of people just won't care if you're feeding more off of the bottom and the minority, right? Lack of empathy. So much for the dream. Polsky has a lot to say about the primates and anyway, how do we overcome that? This mess. Well, we teach the value of empathy, how they can smooth things a bit and help us not to be so greedy. Try to improve the background. Boomer video. Anyway, Yeah, talk about the value of empathy and know that it comes in various forms: creative, objective, and compassionate. So, and our comfort zone, where we find ourselves comfortable in this niche, needs to be expanded in order to expand those into a comfortable arrangement with the often uncomfortable objectivity, creativity, compassion. Expanded compassion. Okay, immigration. Now onto that. Um, well, Mexico, they're teamed up with the United States now, breaking up the caravans, adding a little extra punishment, but purposely, it seems, dividing or routinely dividing up uh, families. Come here in a big mass of people, and you don't get to stay together. So, and we built a wall, it seems. I was predicting that. Down at the southern tip of Mexico. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, but one thing the Mexican government did that was kind and reasonable and in something that IMC philosophy would agree with is putting the people in different parts of Mexico so that one city isn't just overwhelmed. Right now, to rile up people against immigrants, actually we need, if they're especially they're bringing kids, we're an aging population, so we need the kids. Bring them on. So yeah, just overloading Texas and Florida and biggies, just overloading just a few friendly cities, immigrant friendly cities, so that they can upset them, make them angry. The immigrants who are a minority, right? And they are other. Yeah. So tribalism, yeah. That's one of the problems. But and then that's where you need the empathetic perspectives to grow you out of that. You see the very bottom of the food chain there. You see a lot of distress, and you see people not very objective, not very creative, and very not very compassionate, and very tribal. And that's what you're seeing in this MAGA group. Unfortunately, there are enough of them, and have upset enough people with fear and anger. Some of the normies. I hate to say that would be the norm, but the closer to it, my are voting, right along with the some of the Republicans in office, knowing that it's crazy, don't care because it gets them reelected. So bring it on. So that's a problem. And dealing with that is very difficult. Again, teach the things that have to do with empathy in schools. Help people understand. But the real communication is when you get a product that's useful out of that communication. It's effective communication. That means you actually communicate. And if you don't actually communicate, you get a lot of problems. And a lot of misunderstandings and a lot less trust. More people acting like MAGA. Kind of funny that they would have such a negative opinion of modern future concepts when the past was definitely worse. You know, comedians made like Bill Maher's made like okay. Now that also means we need to teach critical thinking in the schools. We need to teach creativity. Yes, you can do that. And we need to help people understand what's compassion. And understand that these things, as you increase them, as you expand your comfort zone to embrace them, brings about a higher level of trust. And that's about the best thing you can do to have a truly healthy and sustainable economy. Well, into that ring of concern, that blood flow, you have to include the earth. Renewable resources. That's very important to the future of humanity. So anyway, that's I'm going to wrap it up. Continue in the comments. You're going to say things more important than what I said. Disagreements that need to be considered. Can't do that for you. You'll have to do it yourself. I promise to try to read as many as I can. Right now, that's easy. It's not a very trafficked channel. So subscribe, share, comment, and like. You actually like an old boomer video. Just consider me your grandpa. Yeah, be nice to grandpa. Give him a like. Even though he looks goofy and he's saying stupid things, still grandpa. Yes, grandpas are running the country, right? Maybe because they're wise. Yeah, some of them. So, thank you, Joe, for doing a good job, by the way, as president. Thank you very much. As far as me, well, I'm very poor. Another way that the rich feed off of us is, well, you can barely get by and they're going to tax you. The federal government, the state governments, when they're going to tax you, and you're barely escaping by. It's like, really? And you have no health care. And that can destroy you. One sickness, like one major illness, definitely. Yeah. And then they send you out. The government send you out forms. Some of this may be taxable. Yeah, you've got some nerve. Yeah, the government certainly has some nerve there. Well, the government in the hands of the conservatives. Yeah, got some nerve. Let's blame the poor. Let's blame the minorities. Blame the immigrants. They're fewer. They're nothing. So, jump on board the hate train. See where that takes you. pretty soon, hate, more fear, less effective government, trust, less empathy. So I like to say at the end of my videos, namaste, which means all of that love flow, all of that connection that we have, each of us with the universe, that lives in each of us, should be acknowledged. So the greeting in India is namaste, they say, things change. But I'd like it to be popular. Yeah. So all the wonder, all the love and the virtue and whatever, the potential for it at least. And me would like to honor that saying, you are priceless. Your help is great even if you can't trade. You got nothing. You're an opportunity for others to expand their virtue. Okay. Namaste. And have a good day, y'all.